Okay, so we're going to move into multiplying and dividing integers. We talked about integers yesterday, and they are a set of whole numbers that are negative or positive, and they can be zero. Okay? So remember that we did a little activity yesterday where we said that if you have a negative by a negative, what does that simplify to? That simplifies to a positive. Remember that the negative, they have to be like negative times a negative, right? So that gives you a positive. And then we said that if it's a positive multiplied by a negative, that's a negative. And then if it's a negative multiplied by a positive, a negative again. And then if it's a positive by a positive, that's a positive. Okay? It's the same thing if you're multiplying two numbers by each other, okay, or dividing. So let's say if I have a negative 2 multiplied by 3, okay? This means when you have two brackets, that means the same thing as multiplication. So I can write this like this, or I can write it like this. That means exactly the same thing. Okay? They mean exactly the same thing. Sometimes you see it as negative 2 times 3. Sometimes you see it bracket negative 2 bracket 3. It's multiplication. What's negative 2 times 3? It's a negative 6. Remember, I'm multiplying a negative by a positive. So in this case, it's a negative 6. Okay? So anytime you multiply a negative by a positive, you get a negative. Same if you multiply a positive and a negative. So in this case, let's say if I have 2 times negative 3, right? I have a positive multiplied by a negative, guess what? It's going to be a negative. Okay? Are you guys okay with that? Now, the rule for multiplication and division is exactly the same thing. Now, what if you have a positive multiplied by another positive? It's a positive. So that's a positive 6. You see how this is the same thing as what we have done here? Yeah, it's the same thing, right? I have a negative multiplied by another negative. What is that going to give me? A positive. So it's a negative 2 times a negative 3. That's going to be a positive 6. Okay? So basically, if you have the same sign and you're multiplying them, it's going to give you a positive. If you have opposite sign and you're multiplying them, it's going to give you a negative. Okay? Are you guys okay with this? Sure, that's your book. You can do whatever you want. So, are you guys okay with this?
No.
Now, as I said earlier, there's different ways that you can write multiplication, right? And I told you that you can write multiplication in brackets, like this, where you have a bracket and then another bracket and they're multiplied together. Or you can actually have the multiplication sign between the numbers, okay? When it comes to division, you'll have two options as well. So when it comes to division, you can write, let's say if you have 6 divided by 3, but it can also be written as 6 divided by 3. These are exactly the same thing, okay? As a fraction or as a division like this, they mean exactly the same. Okay? Can I scroll up or? there is a difference between plus, minus, negative, and positive, okay? So that's a very, very good question.
That's what was bothering me.
That's a very good question. So when I say a number, it's either a negative number or a positive number, okay? When I say plus or minus, I'm actually performing an addition or a subtraction, okay? So if I'm doing this, oops, sorry. If I'm don't write this down. If I'm doing this, I say 3 plus 4, okay? Exactly, right? So I don't say 3 positive 4. I don't say that. If I have this, I say 3 minus 4, okay? But if I have a number, if I have this number, I say that's a negative 4. Okay? That's not a minus 4. I'm not subtracting here. It's actually a negative number. It's a number that's below 0. Okay? It's like when you say outside it's negative 22 degrees. You don't say it's minus, well, we do. But it's not right, by the way. It's a negative 22 degrees. People do say it's minus 22. It's actually wrong. It's not minus 22. It's negative 22. Okay? So if it's a number and it's a negative number, we say it's negative 4. But when I'm performing the operation, it's 3 minus 4. Okay? Can I erase this? We don't need to write this. All right. So I'm going to write this. So I told you that multiplication, if I have this and this, that's the same thing as writing this times this, right? They're exactly the same thing. There's some textbooks that also write it as, you won't see that too often, but if you see it, that's also multiplication. So if you see 2.3, and the dot is not a decimal, it's actually a multiplication, okay?
Is the dot supposed to be on the line or?
Above. Yeah.
I just came to see who's missing so I can kill somebody from Monday.
Here, I'm recording you. I have a proof.
Got him.
Too bad.
Got him.
Kindness.
Yes. Good.
That long period.
Never mind.
So I said that another way to show division is by actually writing the division, so 6 divided by 3, or you can write it as a fraction, 6 over 3. They mean exactly the same thing. If you see something like this,
Can I put this on your desk?
yeah. If you see something like this, can you read this to me? What are we doing? What is this? There is bad mass there, but if you want to read this out loud in English, what do you say?
6 multiplied 9 divided by 3.
That's right. So this is 6 times 9 divided by 3, right? So I can write this as 6 times. Now, because I have the brackets, I have to leave the brackets because that will affect my bed mass, right? So 6 times 9 divided by 3. These two are exactly the same thing, okay? They're written differently, but they're exactly the same thing. Okay? Now, let's go to bed mass here since we already had introduced bed mass quickly, right? What does bed mass stand for? Brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, that's right. And this is the order you should perform your operations, okay? So if you look at bed mass, So brackets, exponents, I don't know how you write the exponents. I'm gonna just write that indicates exponents. Division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Division, multiplication is in the order they actually appear in the equation, and then addition, subtraction in the order they appear in. We'll talk more in details about this. But if you want to simplify this specific one, where do you start? Inside your brackets. What's inside my brackets? 9 divided by 3, which gives me what? 3. Okay? So, this is where I need to start. Now, this is beyond the question, okay? Just so you know. Now, I simplified my bracket, right? And then, what else do I have in that question? 6 times 3, which is 18. Okay? If you don't follow BEDMAS and you actually just decide that you want to do 6 times 9 first and divide by 3, you're not going to get the right answer. Okay? That's why your brackets are important. Your order that you do your math in is important. Are we following? Are we okay? We're going to do a whole lesson about BEDMAS. Like, it's not going to be just order of operation, it's called. So, my question to you is, if I have negative negative 2. What is that? That's a positive 2, right? Now, why is this like that? It's because technically there is an invisible 1 right here, and technically you're doing negative 1 times negative 2. What's negative 1 times negative 2? It's positive 2. Because negative times negative is positive, and then 1 times 2 is 2. Okay? So technically, whenever you see that negative in front of a bracket, it's a 1. Okay? You don't have to include it. As long as you remember negative times negative is positive, that's all what I care about. Okay? Are we okay with this? Okay. So, what you're going to do, where is it? So I'm going to give you some time to work on the next worksheet, so that worksheet right here. Okay, so the worksheet that says multiplying, dividing integers worksheet. Okay, before I set you to do this, I want to go over question number 19 and 20 with you. Actually, let's start with the question. Actually, let's do 19 and 20 together, and then this way. Because that includes some BEDMAS here. So, question number 19.
Plus as subtraction, I have to add a positive and negative in my life.
So this is question number 19. Okay? That question is not only about multiplication, right? So that's why I'm doing this with you, just so you see what's happening. Okay, so if I want to read this, what do I read? Just read it in English first. 5 plus negative 3 times negative 2. Okay? Now, what kind of operation do I have here?
We have to do negative 3 times negative 2 first, and then 5 plus whatever.
The answer is? Now, why negative 3 times the negative 2 first. Bedmass, that's right, okay? So if you look at this, there is a multiplication here that you don't see because remember we talked about brackets are the same as multiplication. And Bedmass says I have to do my multiplication before I do my addition, right? So my multiplication, which is the negative 3 times the negative 2, has to be done first. So that's 5 plus, what's negative 3 times negative 2? Positive 6. So that's 6. Right? Because negative times negative is positive. 3 times 2 is 6.
Miss, are we gonna get a
Miss, say that again.
printout for that green one too?
I can photocopy that for you.
Can you say that again?
Yes. Negative times negative is positive. Right? So negative times negative is positive. Yeah? And then 3 times 2 is 6.
6, yeah. So then now, okay.
Yeah? Do I have to write that positive here? No. Unless it's negative, you don't have to write it. Okay. So what's 5 plus 6? 11, and that will be your answer for this.
So if I'm, like, you always want to see the work, right?
Yes.
That's what you want.
Ooh. Look at that cat. What does it say?
I can't see that.
Did you seriously just ask your math teacher if you have to show your work?
That's crazy.
I know. It is. I'm surprised. Shocked. All right. Let's look at question number 20. Where is the booklet thingy?
Oh, wait. Oh, no, I just did question 19.
Yeah, because my calculator does all of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes, the calculator would do these for you, and I do know that. And I know that this is probably what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna get you to do that on the calculator as well. But at the same time, when we get to letters, calculators will not do letters for you.
Wait, letters?
Yeah, math becomes letters. I know, I quit after that.
Like, what? What?
I know.
Oh my
You
goodness.
should see my 4th year math in university.
University is crazy.
I was like, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah, so rewind. Thanks.
No, I couldn't say bye-bye, unfortunately. Okay, so read this to me. English. I'll do the math, you do the English. Read it.
Negative
Negative 4 times negative 5 plus
Plus 3 times negative 2.
Okay, so you have 2 times here, right? So you have negative 4 times negative 5, and plus 3 times negative 2. So where do I want to do first? What do I want to do first? The multiplication, right? Good. Which is where the brackets are, right? So what's negative 4 times negative 5?
20.
Positive 20, that's right? Okay, good. Because some people say 20 for a negative for some reason. Okay, how about the other multiplication? Negative 6. Yeah? Why is it negative? So this is a positive number, and this is a negative number, right? So that gives me a negative 6. So you see that I did this, and it gave me positive 20, and then I did 3 times negative 2, it gave me negative 6. Okay? Now, in this case, this is technically 20, what is this? Plus and minus. Minus 6. Yes? Because if you have a positive and a negative right after each other, that's a negative.
That's easy to remember if you think if they're different, so negative, positive, or positive, negative, then it's always going to be a negative. But if they're the same, negative, negative, positive, positive, same equals positive.
I need the paper.
And the paper is right here. The paper is in front of you.
Oh, yeah, it's hurting.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's just different is negative and the same is positive.
And then 20 minus 6 is 14.
The top one and the bottom one are just
Okay,